Okay, so today we're going to talk about creativity block, and we're on page 7, just so you know. What happens when you can't come up with an idea? You have thought of all the different things that are around you, and you're like, I can't think of anything. I've never been to the shore. I can't even, come up with an idea. Or I've never read that book. I don't even know. I've never experienced anything like that, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with ways that we can find inspiration, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go through these 9 different areas, and you are going to just list places that you can go to find inspiration, okay? Now, I'm going to come up with the first 2 just to get you going, because sometimes you do need a little bit of a push, okay? So first thing you might want to try is Google Images or Pinterest. Okay, so these are great things that you can go and check out, all right? Other ones might be old photos. Okay? Sometimes if we look at some old photos, like meaning either with our own families or with your own personal, we kind of remember memories, okay? Things that have happened to us. Things that can almost like create a visual for us. I was looking at the other day of pictures of it was actually Central Park, which is kind of strange. Before it was Central Park, and it was kind of neat because they were just building it, and it didn't look like the way it was. So when I was kind of looking at that, it reminded me of something else. It reminded me of, a time when I saw they were rebuilding this whole mall, okay? And I was like, oh, that's kind of how it looks, okay? So come up with places that you can find inspiration, okay? You might want to pause this video, all right, and take the time to do that. All right, now the next part on this page is now that I have an idea, okay, I've been given this idea, what can I do with it? So there's a couple of things. So let's say someone says birds, okay, and you're like, well, what can I do with birds? And you're like, oh, what can I, I've looked up different ideas of birds. I've looked up what different people have done with birds. I've looked, okay? I've come up with inspiration. So I have my visual resources. There you go. What can I do? Well, let's say, so we have birds. All right. It says copying is okay if you're learning, but it's not very creative. Well, let's come up with something. So let's think of my version of a bird. So I'm looking at this picture actually, okay? And it's a picture of these birds on this wire, all right? So we have a little birdie here, okay? And I have it on here, okay? So my version. So my version is kind of saying, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to come up with my own way. So we're going to have that. We're going to have birds in the background because remember, birds are small. All right. And I'm going to put another bird here. All right. So I'm trying to think of how can I draw this. Over here. And it comes down. There we go. So my version of birds sitting on a wire. Okay. There we are. And we're going to color them in. So I'm going to write birds. Okay. So that's my version. Next, merge ideas. This is when you take something else and you put it together with something else. Okay. So let's take this birds one. What I want you to do is I want you to take something, anything. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And I want you to merge it with the idea of a bird. Okay. So I'm going to put, let's put words. I'm going to put words and a bird. So I like the idea of this bird on here. All right. And words. Ready? So I'm going to write home. All right. So you see all those birds flying and he's just staying. So that's where his home is. So I merged them. Define. This is where you're putting all the parts together of this thing. Okay, so birds. Well, what's part of birds? We have a nest. Okay. We have obviously the eggs. Okay. We have, they fly away. They live in trees. Okay. You can have a bird on the side. So we're defining it. We're putting all the things that are about it. Okay, so that's another way that you can break down an idea. Symbols. Indirect implying birds. Okay, so this is a way that you don't put the bird there, but you're going to imply that the bird was there. Okay, so maybe, just maybe, I'm going to leave this one up to you. Okay, I want you to draw something that implies a bird but doesn't say it and doesn't have the picture of the bird. So once again, how do ideas grow? What can we do with once we have an idea? Okay, you can create your own version. Okay, so if you're looking at something, you're like, that's really cool, but I would change this and this, and that would be it. Merge ideas. Take two words together or two ideas. You really love, certain colors, and you're like, okay, I want to put that. Or you really love something else, and you put that together. Define it. Break it down. Or you're going to imply it by not even putting it together. Okay? All right. Once you're done with this, and you're done with this page,